Welcome in, everyone. Thanks for coming on back. Today, in this episode, I know we've done some Space Marines, done some terrain, but now I think it's time change it on up a little bit, up that game a little bit. Now I'm gonna take on
The Great Devour.
wrong button
The Great Devourer.
and paint us some Tyranids.
Blood for the blood god. Paint for the spruce bro. Espresso in my coffee cup.
All right, so I don't really need these. All right, so how we're gonna start off here is we're gonna take some of this wraith bone right here and add that to everything as our initial base coat. I made the first coat a little too thin, which is fine. This is fine. This just means I need to put on some more coats and not have just one thick coat. So as you can see, I'm building up the second coat here, and I'm gonna keep going and doing some nice thin coats until I get through the third coat, and here's what we have at the end of that. So now we move on to the Nagaroth Knight to paint all the armor plating and all that on his back and head and legs. While doing some research to get the color schemes to this video, I went down a rabbit hole of their lore, and my God, it's the Tyranids are a mix of the Borg and the Zerg. Smash them together, and you get the scariest thing you could think of in the universe. They will literally take an entire planet and consume every single piece of life to form their biomass, with which they create more of themselves, leaving completely dead world behind them. But as you guys can see here, I'm putting on some pretty thin coats, so I know I'm going to need multiple coats to get full opacity if my camera would focus. And here it is after 3 coats of the purple. It actually looks pretty good. And now we're moving on to the Abaddon Black for all the claws, the feet, the end of the weapon, which I do get to. This was a scary part where I had a black paint right next to a white color. So I had to be very careful of how I was doing this. Okay, guys, and that's it. That's the 3 paints that come in this kit, and I mean, like that's it. That's all they have for them in the kit. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep going. So we're pulling out the fiery vermilion from the John Blanche Warm Pater scent that I am absolutely in love with. I'm gonna hit up all these little fleshy bits in the crack of his arm, in his weapon, and along his legs. I basically just mixed some of the wraith bone in with the fiery vermilion to make it a little more of a fleshy color as best I could approximate, because I knew I was going to be washing it down anyway, and I was just praying for something that would read as a skin flesh undertone. And then we roll into the Tumbril Turquoise Speed Paint from the same John Blanche set. And I'm just going to use that to try and shade all the purple areas. And, you know, eventually I'll learn to keep the miniature in frame. Like that. It washed it down pretty well. I was a little concerned at what the color mixture was going to be, given that it was turquoise. And then for the rest of the body, I used the Voodoo Shade from the same set. I could have gone with Agrak's Earth Shade, but I wanted to see from the new set how this would all turn out. And I was not disappointed at how well it washed it down. All right, guys, so now that we have shaded her on down, it's time to bring the base colors back. I'm going to bring back out the Nagaroth Knight and the Wraithbone. Go over, I think, what do they say, 80 to 90% of what I washed down to try and bring that base color back. And then I'll be adding Wraithbone into the Nagaroth Knight for the final highlights. And I know it's not picking up here that well on the camera, but it is actually bringing back the base color on the purple. It's a little more noticeable here once we get back to the lighter color of the bone, how it's brightening. It's bringing back the original base color. And at this point, I found the smallest, finest brush I could get to try my hand at doing some edge highlighting. And my God, do I now understand why they say to get a Kolinsky brush. Trying to edge highlight with a synthetic brush that had absolutely no point to it was incredibly difficult. All right, everyone, so we're done with this happy little Tyranid. And before we get to the reveal on it, I just want to let you guys know, if you guys want to see what else I do with the rest of this introductory set here, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so that way when I release this, you guys can get notified. And here she is, the Termagant from the introductory set. I'm loving how this guy turned out now that he's all set up, ready to go for battle. Learned some lessons here, learned what I can get away with and what I can't get away with the given supplies I have at hand. But hey, if you don't try it, you're never going to learn. Overall, I like how it came out. It looks good. It's definitely playable on a table. It's not competition level, but maybe in a year it'll be there. Check the links in the description. Don't forget, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. It does a huge amount to help the channel out. Keeps going on the algorithm. And as for this guy, he's just one of many to come. Tune on in to see the rest of these guys and the Space Marines that came in that introductory set getting all painted up. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.